We're going to step now through the process of adding parts to the database. We begin by looking at our Parts Manager and right-clicking in the Parts List side of the screen, and we click on Add Item. We have a choice of the type of part class that we're going to be adding to the item. We have manufactured parts, assembly parts, purchased parts, tools, software, documentation, labor, conversions. These are actually evie conversions. And we can make lots of different class types if that's appropriate. This particular part is going to be a purchased part. The part that we're actually going to be looking for is going to be a 4 to 20 milliamp interface chip. When we add an item, we get an empty screen ready to add a part, and we have to fill all these in. Now, like I said earlier, I spend most of my time over in Digikey researching parts, so we'll go take a look over there. The part we're looking for is a 4 to 20 milliamp interface chip. We begin our search in Digikey. Now, this is where I spend most of my time researching parts and trying to look for parts. Obviously, I've looked for this part before, so this is a revisit of what I've already done. You can see I've highlighted this. This is a sensor and detector interface chip. The part I'm really interested in is a 2-wire device. I know that already. And I like the 14 SOIC device. That's a nice small chip. We can use 14-pin dips and whatever. But we'll go ahead and grab that one. And this is where I start parsing through their database a little bit, looking for the right part, the right price. Some of these chips are pretty darn expensive, so we probably won't end up using one. But that usually doesn't matter. I'll go ahead and put it in our database anyway, since it's something I've looked at or looked for. Let's begin with this one here. And this shows us the part detail information from Digikey. Essentially, we need to transfer all this information over into Commence. So the easiest way to do that is using our copy program. I've written a small program that will copy data right off the web browser. We can copy that data by highlighting all of the text that we're interested in copying. We can right-click on that text and say Copy. Come back to our database, which has the empty form on it, and we use the Paste button over here. What that does is that executes a program that reads through all of that copied data and finds the correct place to put all the data. Brings in the order number, the description, the manufacturer's number, any of the costing information that's available. It hooks us up automatically to the vendor and provides a link to the vendor's search key. There's just a few more things we need to go fetch. One of the most important things is that data sheet. Let's go ahead and get a copy of the data sheet from the web page. Data sheets are found right about here. We right-click on that, say Copy Link Location, come back over here, say Paste. Now we've got a copy of the data sheet. And finally, we want to hook up the manufacturer. The manufacturer in this case, this is Texas Instruments. So we come back to our database, click on the manufacturer key, open the connection button, and Texas Instruments should already exist here. We can find it quickly by typing TEX, and here's Texas Instruments. We make that connection. And usually I want to get an image when there's an image available, so we'll click on the image. I like to get the largest image possible when they're available. So we right click and say Copy Image. Come back to our database, and here we press Control V to insert. Now we're almost done, but I'm going to show you what happens here. If we go ahead and attempt to save this part, it says please add this part to a group before saving. What that's telling us is the part needs to be in one of the part groups, which are listed over here to the left. We make that connection by clicking on the connection field for the part group. And here we can go through and choose from any one of the part groups that we have available. This is an IC, so we're going to click off IC. It's in that group. And this is also an interface chip. Now if we look here under I see I don't have interface. So what I can do is I can hit this add button here, and this allows me to add a new part group. And it automatically makes the connection. And the last part, which I know I don't have, is a 4 to 20 group. That would be a smart group to have, because we'll be looking for quite a few parts in the 4 to 20 group. So let's go ahead and add one for that. Alright. Now we're done. Now we can go ahead and save this part. And that's it. Now the part is actually listed down here. Oh, look at that. I've already got a 4 to 20 chip in there. Now, how handy is that? Here's the part we just added. Let's go ahead and take a look at this one. Oh, look at that. That's a real nice tiny one. This is under discrete and op amp. Oh, those would be two good parts to put in there as well. So here you can see where I've got the part listed in two groups, but I don't have it under IC. Let's go ahead and fix that. We have IC, we have 4 to 20, and we have interface. So we can establish those connections on this part. And go ahead and save that. And just to be consistent, let's go back to the original part that we just put in, and let's go ahead and add that to discrete and op amp. Now what these parts groups do is they help us to find our parts. But as you can see, by using the browser cut, copy, and paste instructions, we can quickly move data out of the web pages into our database. Now if we take a look over at our group keys over here on the side, we see that 4 to 20 is not listed, nor is interface is listed either. Reason is that we just added those groups, and this view over here needs to be refreshed. The easiest way to do that is to click off on a different view or a different desktop, then come back to our parts view, and there you'll see them listed there. Here's 4 to 20. That's the new group that we just added, and down here is interface. When we click on interface, what do we get? We get our two parts. 4 to 20, get our parts. If we click on discrete, of course, we have all kinds of parts under discrete. And let's take a look here under op amp. We've got quite a few op amps, but two of them are 4 to 20. And that's basically how we add parts to the database.